Live from the John Bassett Theatre at the Canadian International Auto Show, this is the 2023 Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame Induction Gala. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host for this evening, Todd Lewis.
Welcome, thank you. Appreciate you coming. Thanks for that great pre-recorded introduction, Eric Thomas. Big thanks to Eric, who does so much for the Hall of Fame. He is an honored member of the Hall of Fame. Just signed off after 31 years hosting Raceline Radio, nearly 50 years in the business. Congratulations, E.T., on the retirement. You've earned a little time off. Let's recognize as well our editor, Dave Oliver, for that video and all the others you'll see tonight. He does a tremendous job. Bryce Turner as well. Great work on all the scripting and much more. Thanks, everybody, for coming tonight. We really appreciate it. Let's say thank you to our presenting sponsors for tonight's program. We appreciate the support of Clubine Motorsports, the OTSFF Sports Marketing Group, and TNG Exotics and Limited Editions. Quick reminder, if you haven't already done so, please make sure you've silenced your phones. Some of you have very questionable ringtones. Tonight's ceremony is being streamed live on the Hall of Fame YouTube channel. Over 1,200 subscribers so far. Lots of good stuff there to see. If you aren't already subscribed, you should be. Nice to see a lot of family and friends and members here tonight. We appreciate you coming. It's nice to socialize and hang out with people you haven't seen in a while. We encourage you to do so after the ceremonies as well. The bar will reopen. Spend a little time hanging around, telling stories. We encourage you to participate in the silent auction. Many of you have already. Thank you for the bids. Don't be afraid to make more. Formula One Grand Prix tickets, Honda Indy tickets, Chevrolet Grand Prix IMSA event at CTMP tickets, Raptors tickets, and more. The proceeds of the silent auction go to support the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. We appreciate your support. 2023 was another really memorable year for Canadians and Canadian motorsport. Strong car counts, full grandstands, exciting to be part of and to see so many successful events and watch a lot of talented racers show their skills around the world. How about Robert Wickens winning a championship? How about Trayton Lapsevich and his extraordinary year in the NASCAR Canada Series? Kyle Steckley, an outstanding year. Our Rising Star Award winner, Patrick Woods-Toth, was sensational in his first year of open wheel racing. And we have a lot to look forward to this year as well in 2024. Seasons are already underway and schedules are in place for events in Canada. We'll celebrate the 50th anniversary season of Shannonville Motorsports Park in 2024. Great to see John and Dominique Bondar here. John, of course, is a member of the Motorsports Hall of Fame already this year. Parker Thompson, who's here tonight, stuck it on pole at Daytona. Daniel Morad was a winner at the Rolex 24 in Daytona. Antoine Lesage, back in rallying. It's good to see. Lots to come this year as well. Tracks across the country reported big crowds at the big events, which we like to see, and also at the local tracks as well. Let's keep supporting those events and the racers and sponsors who participate and keep them all going this year as well. A thank you to the Canadian International Auto Show for having us back this year. Crowds on the first day or two have been extraordinary. Lots of manufacturer participation this year. We say congratulations and thank you to General Manager of the show, Jason Campbell, and his staff for all they do to help us out. Jason, we appreciate your support, and you're supporting the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. In fact, let's thank Jason and keep the applause going as we welcome Jason up to the stage to say a quick word.
Todd. Thank everybody here. It's great having you here as part of this big industry celebration event, which is what we like to say, celebrating all things automotive. And this Hall of Fame Association is really a real key pillar of that. We kicked off the show, as I think some of you know, that we had a wonderful induction ceremony for the international inductee, Dario Franchitti. He was joined by former Top Gear presenter Richard Hammond. And he not only was here for the induction, he was also here for our opening media day yesterday. And also for our induction, we were also joined by the Mayor of Hinchtown. And James, it was a fantastic evening, a great way to kick off the auto show. It kicked it off in style. And thanks as well to Joel and to Eric Thomas and the team that put the great video together for that. That was really special. And this association really means a lot to me and to the auto show, because getting these kinds of big names, like Dario and Richard Hammond to come here to help us open the show, this is not easy. But when you see the associations that we've had in past through our association here, that really helps us convince these names to come back here and make this show as big as it can be. And we've had a great reception and opening to the show. Yesterday we had an attendance record for the first Friday. We had great names like the Andretti team and Ganassi have loaned us their cars, and developing those stars. And to be successful as a show like this, we really have to appeal to a broad range of everybody, from the racers to the kids with their Lego and Hot Wheels and Barbie car, to also the classics enthusiasts and the exotic lovers. FAF, who I know have been a big part of this program, have an amazing display in the middle of the North Building. If you haven't seen it, you definitely have to go. It certainly draws a lot of attention. And so it's great to start out on the right foot. Norris McDonald, as you know, is the one who first put the idea of us creating this association together with the Hall of Fame. Sadly, of course, he's passed recently. And as you know, we worked very closely together in the auto show over the years, and he was a friend, not just a colleague. But I know Susan and his kids are here tonight, and so too is Norris in spirit. Susan's got his suspenders on, so he's really looking down over us. And I know Norris would wish two things tonight. One, for you to have a wonderful time, and two, to keep your speeches short. So in that, I'll take his cue, and I want to thank you again very much, and have a wonderful evening, and congratulations to all the inductees.
Jason Campbell, thank you very much. To begin our proceedings this evening, please welcome the gentleman to my side here, the chair of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, Peter Lockhart, who has some greetings and some opening remarks. Peter, great to see you.
Hello, everyone. We're starting our fourth decade this year of shows, of induction ceremonies. And with tonight's induction, we will have 290 inducted. Which is fantastic. The stories are great. We have 15 inductees tonight, which is a large group, but the videos tell the story, and the inductees have all the little tidbits to add that make it so exciting. We're live streaming, as Todd mentioned, and thank you so much for all being here, and Todd will take it away.
Yes, we have a lot planned tonight. We're very happy as well to have so many members of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame who are here with us tonight.
We can't see you, but I know you're out there. But I should also mention our board.
Yes.
We have most of our board here tonight. Greg McPherson, our vice chair, Robin Vertu, our tireless board member and general manager. Not sure if Bruce Thompson is here, our treasurer. Jeff Atkinson definitely is here. Denny Cadot is definitely here. You'll see later, maybe. Irene Chambers, unfortunately not here, from out west. Lawrence Himmel is definitely here. Nicolas Lassalle, Todd Lewis, of course. Lindsay Riddell is somehow on a cruise. He made that before we realized when the date was. Joel Robinson, who makes this show happen the way it is with the help of Eric Thomas. Scott Samuel, Michael Taylor, who puts together our silent auction, and Dr. Hugh Scully, our chair emeritus and chair of our nominating and selection committee. Let's all give them a warm welcome. So, unfortunately, as always, in 2023, we lost some great members. We lost Ron Farmer, Dave Billes, Ralph Luciu, Jacques Duval, and, as you know, Norris McDonald.
Let me take a second to recognize Fran Matsumoto, longtime partner of Ralph Lucio, along with Susan Green, Norris McDonald's wife, and the McDonald family, as Jason said, are here with us tonight. We continue to send you our love and support to all of you. The loss of Norris struck many of us because of his huge personality, his enthusiasm for racing and for life in general. He was so proud to be part of the auto show, so proud to be part of this event. It's a wonderful gesture, Jason, as well, for the auto show to rename the media center as the Norris McDonald Media Center. His presence here as the host of this event for many years kind of made him the face of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. Norris McDonald always wore a tuxedo for this ceremony, so I'm doing the same tonight to honor him. We wanted to pay a special tribute for all he did in support of Canadian motorsport, the Motorsport Hall of Fame, and look back on one of his favorite and most famous columns from the Toronto Star of the top 10 places that you may want to watch races.
Held in the picturesque Principality, the Monaco Grand Prix provides a spectacular showcase for Formula One. Spectators are astonished by the agility of the cars, stunned by the bravery of the drivers.
Hello to all my friends and colleagues at the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame Gala. A special tribute this evening to Norris McDonald, who truly loved the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and in particular the Indianapolis 500-mile race. Every year that Norris came down, I'd invite him to join us in the police escort into the track. Norris turned into a young child just loving to watch the motorcycle drill team perform the stunts on their motorbikes. Norris said that the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is one of the top 10 events you should see in the world, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to share that with him.
Number 8, personal favorite, corner 2 at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, or as Norris referred to it as, Old Mosport.
Norris, we talked about racing, your love of racing, and where you'd love to watch a race from. How about the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve at the hairpin? I think that would be a great spot.
Norris McDonald selected Edmonton Corner 1 as one of the best viewing race circuits in the world, and we all miss Norris, one of the most knowledgeable and notable racing journalists.
Norris was right. Gold grandstands at the Toronto Indy on the front straightaway, best place to watch because the cars are building speed all the way through there, and that's the fastest part of the track. So Norris is always right.
Number 4, any seat in turn 1 or turn 4 of a super speedway, because that's where all the action happens, whether you're in the stands or behind the wheel.
After the Indianapolis 500, the Grand Prix of Long Beach is the best attended race, it's the longest running race, and I think that's what makes it the next race on the list that drivers really want to win. So where's the best place to watch somebody try to take victory at the Grand Prix of Long Beach? Well, that's at the end of Shoreline Drive, Grandstand 36, right at turn 1, all the action from the start, the restart, the blend during pit stops. Most of the passes on track happen right there. And of course, if you sit there, you'll be one of the first that gets to welcome the winner after they take the checkered flag and their life forever changes as a Long Beach Grand Prix winner. And that is why Grandstand 36 is the place to watch.
Number 2, the back grandstand at Talladega Super Speedway for the Talladega 500.
And the number 1 place in Norris's top 10 to watch a race from is right here on his couch.
It's a great video. We thank everyone that participated to help make that happen. 9 Hall of Famers in that video, by the way, saluting Norris. And Peter, that's we thank them for their participation in that special salute to Norris and so many other people that we should thank as well.
We have so many to thank. It's a big production to put this induction ceremony on, and it's very entertaining when you see it all. But it wouldn't happen without our gala presenting sponsors, Clubine Motorsports, OTSFF Sports Marketing Group, and TNG Exotics and Limited Editions. We also, we'll talk more about this later, we want to thank our Rising Star Award sponsor, JMF Motorsports, and we'll hear from them later. We'd like to thank Wellesley at Pots and Plants for the lovely floral arrangements that we have here. And again, Jason Campbell, Tina Holmes, and all the staff at the Canadian International Auto Show as well as all those who supported buying ads in the program that Greg McPherson dutifully put together with great skill, and all those who are supporting and will support our silent auction tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for all your support. This video and others, as mentioned, will be up on the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame website and YouTube page. It gets such great attention as well because we're up well over 200 videos now on the YouTube page and the website, over 161,000 views. So motorsports is getting an awful lot of attention. And Peter, we're very pleased that this year, once again, the Celebration of Speed, an important event for the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, returns to its traditional date in August.
It does. It's coming back on the Grand Prix circuit at CTMP on Monday, August 5th, the civic holiday, which is an absolutely perfect time to hold this event as so many families come out to take rides in the fabulous cars that our team put together. We have close to 60 people that we rely on to come and provide rides to the public, and normally we end up with about 40. My first email announcing this new date change, instantly we had 25 cars confirmed, another 10 or 15 maybes, and it's all the way to August. We also are moving into Quebec this year on June 30th. We're going to have our inaugural event at ICAR in Mirabel, and that'll be headed by our Lindsay Verdell, our Quebec-based board member, with support from Nicole LaSalle, Denis Cadot, Robin Vertu, and our team.
So a lot to look forward to this year with the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame and an extra celebration of speed. I think that we have a lot to look forward to in 24.
It's going to be very good.
Thank you, Peter. We really appreciate it. We'll look forward to all of that and much more coming this year for the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. Each year, the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame receives nominations for consideration into next year's class. The nomination procedure has been revamped, streamlined to make it easier for everyone wishing to make a nomination. And to report on this year's class into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, please welcome the Chair of the Nominating and Selection Committee, Dr. Hugh Scully.
Thank you, Todd, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad they have railings now to get up onto the stage. That makes it a lot easier for those of us that are a little bit mobility challenged. This year was a record year. We had 56 nominations. And in the process that we go through, Robin Virtue, as the general manager, and I go every one of these very carefully, get back to some of the nominators for additional information, and then send these out to an independent selection committee, which meets over the course of the summer. And we have a meeting at the end where we collectively make a recommendation to the board about those we think make the cutoff point in terms of scoring for this year. This year, I must say, and I've been involved now for a number of years, was the most difficult year. When I first went through the list, I had 20 people that I thought were deserving. Well, we cannot accommodate 20 people in the course of an evening. So that means there will be a lot of carryover for next year. I will be in touch with those that nearly made it and their nominators so that we can polish further. And as a comment about the success this year, 6 of the people being inducted tonight went through this process and revised the nominations and were successful. It's a remarkable collection of talent in all aspects of motorsport, and it's a great pleasure to be the chair of the selection committee and recognize so many great people involved in motorsport. The drivers, the team owners, the members of the team, the marshals, and the thing that we've added very significantly is the press. It's quite true that without the press, a lot of the profiles would not be there, and we certainly value what they do. Great pleasure to chair it, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Scully. As mentioned, the procedure to nominate someone or an organization that you think has made a significant contribution to Canadian motorsport has been streamlined over the last number of years. Nominations are open all year. There is a cutoff for the submission date on the last day of July. Any nominations received that go into consideration for the following year. Go to the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame website. On the home page, you can make your nomination. There's a drop-down menu that has all the frequently asked questions. There's a sample nomination form, the scoring matrices that show how this independent selection committee scores the nominees. You can fill out your nomination with all the supporting documentation. Make sure you send it to Dr. Scully, the chair of the nomination committee. They're scored and they are forwarded to the board without names, and then a cutoff score is agreed. The names are then disclosed to the board. The chair of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame will then contact the successful nominee. The names are included in a media release. The successful nominees are honored at a ceremony much like this one in the future. We should note as well that all the directors of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame and the Independent Selection Committee are not allowed to nominate or support any nomination. In addition to the many worthy candidates and inductees celebrated in Canada and from Canada, the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame has an international category, as was mentioned a little bit earlier. Significant accomplishments by individuals, companies, and organizations from around the world that have achieved outstanding success in motorsports. 2023 International Inductee was presented their award this past Wednesday at the Cobble Beach Collectors Dinner just prior to the opening of the Canadian International Auto Show. This year's inductee was Dario Franchitti.
This year's international inductee into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame is Scotland's Dario Franchitti. Born in Edinburgh in 1973, Franchitti started racing at the age of 10, honing his early skills in karting before transitioning to cars. By 1991, he was making waves in British Formula Vauxhall Junior, clinching the series championship. He won the Formula Vauxhall Lotus Championship in '93 before moving to the British Formula 3 Championship in '94, where he finished fourth in the Drivers' Championship. Franchitti moved to Europe in 1995 to gain valuable experience and refine his driving skills and racecraft in the highly competitive environment of European touring cars. He competed in the Deutsche Tourenwagen Masters and the International Touring Car Championship in '95-96 for Mercedes-Benz. In '97, Dario crossed the Atlantic to join Hogan Racing in the Kart IndyCar Series. From 1998 to 2002, he competed with Team Cool Green, teamed with fellow Canadian Motorsport Hall of Famer Paul Tracy. He then transitioned to the renamed IndyCar Series with Andretti Green until 2008, and then with Chip Ganassi Racing from 2009 until he retired in 2013. Dario Franchitti's career in open wheel is a story of triumph and near misses. In kart and IndyCar combined, he totaled an impressive 31 wins, 33 poles, and over 100 podium finishes. Dario got heartbreakingly close to a championship in 1999, finishing the season with an equal number of points as Juan Montoya, but he wound up second after a tiebreaker based on season wins. But this near miss only fueled his determination, leading to his most notable on-track achievements, winning the Indianapolis 500 3 times, 2007, 2010, and 12. He also clinched his first IndyCar title in 2007 and added 3 more in a row, 2009, 10, and 11. Franchitti's Canadian races marked even more success. He won the Molson Indy Toronto in '99, 2001, and 2009. His victory at the Molson Indy Vancouver in 2002 further showcased his excellence on Canadian circuits. Known for his skill on both street and road courses, Franchitti was a fan favorite in Canada. His racing prowess extended beyond IndyCars. He made impressive strides in other disciplines, including the NASCAR Cup and Xfinity Series with 28 starts. Dario also left his mark in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, where he earned 2 victories in 14 starts. His crowning achievement, winning the 2008 Rolex 24 at Daytona for Chip Ganassi Racing. Since retiring from driving, he's continued to make significant contributions. He has transitioned seamlessly to the role of commentator and analyst, while embracing mentorship, offering guidance to the next generation of drivers and teams. His induction into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame is recognition of a career that exemplifies excellence, determination, and a profound passion for racing. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 2023 Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame International Inductee, Dario Franchitti.
Dario was thrilled to receive his award. Unfortunately, he could not stay for the ceremonies this evening, but Canada holds a special place in his heart. He was thrilled to be here, very thankful to all those that supported him throughout his career and continue to support him now as he continues with his ventures. He's got a very busy schedule, but again, his heartfelt thanks is extended to all those that supported him through his career. The Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame would not be able to provide recognition to those that are worthy without the support and by the recognition of greatness of motorsports from our presenting sponsors. Bill Klubine of Klubine Motorsports, he's right over there. He is the ringleader, who has also brought in Andre Laurent from OTSFF Sports Marketing Group and Angelo Paletta of TNG Exotics and Limited Editions. Unfortunately, Angelo and Andre could not be with us. Bill, we thank you for all that you do for the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, your support of motorsports and young drivers and pushing them forward in their career. It is very much appreciated, and thank you. Let's get on with honoring this year's Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame inductees, members recognized as builders, competitors, significant contributors, and in the media. Many of tonight's honorees are recognized in multiple categories for their accomplishments and positive influence and support of Canadian motorsports. Let's meet, before we do, we asked all of our recipients tonight to please thank those that they want to recognize. There have been so many people that have been key to help them. Sometimes in the past, people have gone a little bit long on their speeches. We don't expect any of that tonight, but we are prepared just in case. If it gets a little out of hand, as every racer will recognize, the black flag might come out. So to everyone in the audience and watching at home and live stream, we've got you just in case it gets going. Thank you, Denny. Let's meet our first new member. This is in the competitor category. He raced, he won a lot, and he owned a very successful racetrack.
Our first inductee got into racing on a suggestion from his wife. The late Claude Aubin started his racing career at Autodrome Laval in 1966. He won the Hobby Fast Class title in his rookie season before moving up to sportsman and late model competition. He won 4 championships in the ACAQ Touring Series in the 1970s, following that with 5 titles in the ACCAS Series in the 1980s. Aubin competed in select NASCAR late model sportsman events in the 70s and 80s, including the Dogwood 500 at Martinsville Speedway. He won multiple NASCAR late model sportsman races at Catamount Stadium in Vermont. He also competed in a Daytona 500 qualifying race in 1978 and won a pair of NASCAR North Series races in Quebec in 1979. Aubin wound up his time behind the wheel with stints in the GM Players Championship and the CASCAR Super Series. Away from the driver's seat, Aubin helped grow stock car racing in Quebec. He purchased Riverside Speedway in 1979, renovating the track and renaming it Autodrome Laval. He also leased the St. Félicien race complex in 1981 and purchased La Circuit du Montagne in 1982. In 1985, he sold Autodrome Laval to the city and moved to Du Montagne, where he repaved the oval and renamed it Autodrome Saint-Eustache. Aubin founded his own stock car driving school, as well as the Les Gens Montefiore series, helping many drivers get started with less expensive cars. He sold Saint-Eustache in 2006 after 21 years of ownership. Aubin passed away in August of 2022 at the age of 82. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome posthumously to the class of 2023 in the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, Monsieur Claude Aubin.
Please welcome to accept the award for Claude Aubin, Linda Aubin, who will accept it this evening. Peter Lockhart has the medallion presentation for Linda Aubin.
Wow, nice souvenir. Bonsoir à tous. Hi everybody. J'aimerais remercier les membres de l'organisation du Temple de la Renommée d'avoir accepté la candidature de mon père Claude Aubin. Et j'aimerais aussi remercier tous ceux qui ont travaillé et côtoyé mon père durant ces longues années de sa vie. J'aurais tant aimé qu'il soit présent ici ce soir, mais malheureusement, mon père est décédé le 6 août dernier, 2022, excusez. Nous tenons à lui rendre hommage et à exprimer toute notre reconnaissance. Il était une personne remarquable qui mérite d'être honorée pour ses nombreux accomplissements. Il était un grand homme d'affaires. Il a développé sa passion dans ce merveilleux sport tout en étant un pilote de course, un promoteur, un propriétaire de 3 circuits de course au Québec. Grâce à son dévouement, sa passion, son travail acharné, notre père a laissé une empreinte inoubliable dans le cœur de tous les amateurs de course au Canada. Papa a été un leader exceptionnel dans tous les aspects de sa vie. C'était un homme généreux, dévoué, un grand visionnaire, un rassembleur, un mentor pour de nombreuses personnes dans le domaine de la course automobile. Malgré qu'il n'est plus parmi nous aujourd'hui, son impact dans le sport motorisé se fera sentir pendant de nombreuses années encore, et on le souhaite. Espérons qu'il continuera à vivre dans nos cœurs encore bien longtemps et plusieurs années. J'aimerais remercier tous ceux qui ont participé à l'écriture de son histoire, Gaétan Aubin, René Morancy, Alfredo Micoli, Bob Écuyat et Éric Descarrés. Et pour terminer, ta femme, tes enfants, tes petits-enfants veulent t'exprimer tout leur amour en te disant « Salut champion ».
Merci, Linda. Thank you, Linda. Next up, also in the competitor category, he started as a racer, he moved into ownership, and he is a big promoter of Canadian talent.
Our next inductee spent more than a decade racing sports cars before shifting his efforts to the ownership side of the sport. Toronto native Jeremy Dale attended 3 racing schools in 1983, finishing at the top of his class in each. He then raced 2 seasons in the Skip Barber Northeast Division, winning Rookie of the Year in 1984, before moving to the Barber Saab Pro Series, where he won 7 races. In 1989, he won the IMSA Firehawk Series Championship in his second year as a Dodge factory driver. He also drove for Dodge in IMSA GTU, winning his season debut and adding 3 more victories. He nearly won the championship despite missing the first 4 races. Dale competed in the 1991 24 Hours of Daytona, where his team was leading in the 20th hour before a tire failure ended their race. He won his class in the 94 Daytona 24 and added 2 wins that season, missing the IMSA WSC Championship by only 2 points. After a career-ending crash, Dale spent time as a TV analyst and held a managerial role with the Barber Dodge Pro Series before becoming the president of a new race team, Sport, in 2002. He held that role until 2007, with the team winning the CART Toyota Atlantic Championship, multiple Champ Car races, and finishing runner-up in points. Dale started his own JDX racing team in 2007, focusing on sports car competition. His team won the Porsche Carrera Cup North America title in 2022. Please welcome into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, Jeremy Dale.
Jeremy Dale is joined by his presenter, Miles Dale, to assist in receiving his medallion.
Wow, thank you. I'm going to start this. I'm determined not to be black flagged. I'm going to start this in the most quintessential Canadian way, which is with an apology, because I've not done a good job preparing my remarks. I have no paper. But I do want to start by thanking Dr. Scully and Peter and the entire board for their consideration tonight. When those of us that race and are in this world, you start down this path and you have no idea, you have no concept of, hey, this is where I'm headed and this is what I want to do, and you don't imagine a night like this. And so it means a lot to me. I have row L, I've got row L locked out back there, and there's people here tonight. I sort of want to, I don't want to do the there I was version of the speech, because that's the for sure black flag version of the speech. I want to talk about the people that make sacrifices for people like us that do this, because inherently what we do is incredibly selfish, and it's all about us, and it's all about us pursuing our dreams and our goals and the things we want to achieve. And what gets sort of left behind are all the people that support you, all the people that give you direction and support, and they promote you, and they love you, and I lived with my mother till I was 28 years old. That's just a reality of what you do in this business, so you can get from this point to the next point. So whether it's financial support, whether it's emotional support, whether it's guidance in your career, those people are out there, and what they have offered me over the years has been incredibly important and valuable. Some are here tonight. Some have left us. I've lost some friends over the years, and they all have meant a great deal to me. And they've all coached me and mentored me and boosted me and helped me on my journey. What I've tried to do the last 10 years or so is take all that and try and pass it along. And that's really what our race team, we don't end up racing in Canada that much. We'll be at the Montreal Grand Prix this summer, racing Carrera Cup, but we're mostly in the United States, and we're mostly focused on helping young drivers create a path for them to get to become professionals and achieve their goals. Parker Thompson is here tonight. He was already acknowledged. If you want to sort of look at the perfect model of how you do this, Parker might disagree with this statement, but look at Parker and what he's done. Absolute tenacity, absolute determination, and focus on building a career. We did about 3 years together, 2.5, because I fired him the first 6 months through the first year, but then he came back. He deserved it, you're right. But he won the Carrera Cup Championship in 2022, and now he's a factory Lexus driver. And if that doesn't speak to what we're all about and what we want to see for guys like Parker, then I don't know what else does. So, and helping him in whatever small way I might have helped him, that's great. That's what gives me energy every day. And so I'm really thrilled for Parker that he's on the path he's on now. There's another young man here tonight, Zachary Vanier. I don't know where Zachary is. He's somewhere in the crowd here, right over there. So nobody knows this, but Zachary's going to race with JDX Racing this year in Carrera Cup, and he is going to lead the charge for us in Carrera Cup to bring another championship to another young Canadian deserving driver and hopefully make that next step. Anyway, just by name, my late father, James Dale, who was a huge supporter, my brother Miles, who was just up here, my mother Irene, who is anchoring row L back there, and my incredible wife of 25 plus years, Joanne, who's also in row L. I just have to thank all of you and everyone else that has helped me over the years to do this and to achieve this dream. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Congratulations. Zachary, you better produce, or as you can see, it won't last. Next up, a very successful racing competitor. He has also worked tirelessly behind the scenes on the business of racing.
Our next inductee started his professional racing career on the short tracks of Ontario and northern U.S., recording 27 feature wins in super stocks and super late models between 1984 and 1989. The Markham, Ontario native continued stock car racing from 1990 to 2006, where he notched 7 Cask Car National wins and 14 Cask Car East victories. He won the 1994 Cask Car National Championship and finished top 10 in the series point standings in every year he raced. Mark Dilley also won the 1992 Cask Car track title at Barrie Speedway and recorded 52 top 5 finishes in national Cask Car competition. The newly branded NASCAR Canada Series debuted in 2007, where Dilley became the 7th driver to win a race under the NASCAR banner. He added 2 more wins and remained active in the series until 2022, recording 37 top 5 finishes. Dilley's involvement with short tracks extended to the business side. He was instrumental in the reopening and renovation of Barrie Speedway in 1999 and managed the track until 2002, when he transitioned to co-owner. He later became involved with Sunset Speedway as vice president from 2009 to 2016. And during his time at Sunset, he oversaw a $1.5 million renovation that helped gain the track NASCAR sanctioning. During his time with both Barrie and Sunset, Dilley owned and operated the Mark Dilley Driving Experience, serving over 6,000 customers. He went on to co-own Sauble Speedway in 2017, helping that track earn NASCAR sanctioning. To this day, he mentors and manages young racers and helps with sponsorship programs. Please welcome to the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, Mark Dilley.
Joining Mark as the presenter is Dave Dilley. As we were going through Mark's archives, we found a few notes. He debuted in 1989 Pontiac Grand Prix sportsman at a regional race at then Cayuga Speedway, started 18th, he went back to 24th, there was a 50-lap feature, wound up finishing 7th in front of over 14,000 spectators. Just one of his accomplishments, and, well, this should be interesting.
Thanks, Todd. I'm not going to lie to you. Usually I'm 10 deep and winging it, but we'll take a run at this. I wrote everything out. The problem is I really don't know how to read or write, so But first of all, I want to thank the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame and the committee. You do a great job. It's an honor for myself, and I think I congratulate every inductee here. I think that it's a great thing, and I hope the continued support goes on and on so the younger generations can come up through. I think all of us know in this room that this is not a one-person show in any way. The support you need to compete week in and week out is is unbelievable. And over the last 40 years, I just look good for my age, but there's been a lot of support. I can't even go back through, but I think the biggest support that you can ever have is your family. My dad, Dave, by the way, Todd. My brother Sean, he's up there. I remember in 1984, we loaded up this 70 Chevelle and we're heading for the racetrack. We're going to light the world on fire. Needless to say, we got no trailer. So we had to borrow the trailer to get to the track. We get there. As we get to the speedway, we realize I don't even know how to drive standard. But, and it's just a true story. I'll never forget him. I said, what do I do now? He says, go get him. I hit everything. And I tell you everything. If there was walls at Sunset Speedway at that time, my career would have ended in about 2 nights. But it was a mess, and we got through it. We continued on, and we actually got a win that year, which was pretty amazing. It was an accomplishment and hooked us. From there forward, as the years rolled on, my brother Sean and I had our own families and stuff, and we started to gain some cheerleaders, and you know, things were starting to happen. Raced a bunch of different style of cars, won some races, and you know, the racing world it had us, and we were hooked. So, you know, for that, I gotta thank Karen, Jake, Kate, Dad's Karen, for all the support. I know that, you know, she's been a road. But Roxanne, what can I say besides thank you? I think if somebody told you 15 years ago they would be hooked up with a whack job like this, you'd say, not a chance. Well, here I am. And don't forget, as I told you, you're the luckiest girl in the world. You and Sydney have seen the ups and downs of this sport. It can tear you apart. It can bring you back up. But that's what makes us do it. I mean, we're not put together the same, in case anyone doesn't know that. My girls, Bryden and Faith, to have them at the track, they show up, they support through in and throughout. It's unbelievable what it means. I told them both, stay away from the race boys. I don't care what you do, stay away from the race boys. Well, both of them date racers, very good racers. I'm very proud of both of them. Obviously, they don't listen. They're a bit like myself, but they're very instrumental in their racing careers and still mine if I ever get off the couch. I've been fortunate to have some of the greatest car owners around, Peter Shatanis, Dave Whitlock, Scott Steckley, and of course, Kerry Mix. Mixie and I absolutely disintegrated each other, racing against each other for 30 years. All of a sudden, we're teammates. He's the owner, he's driving, I'm driving, we're sharing. It's just like, that's the way the sport works. We raced hard, day in and day out, but we've remained friends for I think it's 40 years, 39 years. So my hat off to him. I'm sure he'll stand up here one day. But as soon as I seen that black flag, I thought, oh, we know Mixie's here. But anyways, no driver can do anything without a good crew. I've been fortunate to have great people behind me as far as in the crew, in the pit. I've had people that have worked with me for 20 years and plus. I can't thank them enough. I stand here today and I honestly say that none of this is possible without people that work on the cars, support, and do it. I thank Reno, Scott, Danny, Rob, Rick, just to name a few. There's been so many. I thank you all very much. I'm getting through it. I'm doing good in the reading. Sponsors. We all know it's a sponsor-driven sport. I've been fortunate enough to have good sponsors, great sponsors. I'd like to thank NTN Bearings. I raced for them for a long time. Sega, Parts Source, Dodge, just to name a few. But there's always a few that hang in there through the thick and thin, no matter what happens. First of all, I'd like to thank John and Diane Beauchard of Avenue Motorworks. They always came to the call. Whatever it was, they supported me. The friendships we have is amazing. It's like a second dad and uncle. They're amazing people. I thank them. TJ Renamato and his family. As things got tougher here in the last few years for sponsorship and for all of us to compete, he stood up, supported, did whatever he could, raced a lot, won the NASCAR Rookie, but more than anything, he supported myself and a lot of kids coming up through, Trayton Lapsovich being one of them, Dustin Mumbercut, like a lot of kids, and I thank you, TJ, for that very much. The next family, what can I say? Byron, Diane, Jason, and Dwayne Nelson of Leland Industries. They've supported me for over 20 years. Not just me, but racing in general. Sponsors races, buys hospitality, buys TV programs, does it all. Complete program. He's into it, he loves it, he understands, it drives his business, and I can honestly say, truly say, that I would not be standing here today without your support. Byron, Diane, Jason, and Dwayne, I thank you so much. I've been involved with 3 different speedways. I've met a lot of great fans, a lot of great racers. Sponsors drive the sport. I try and help the kids as much as I can to tell them how to do it, not just in the driving, but the business side of it, because you have to know the business side to succeed. I think to watch the Lapsovich boys, Dustin, and many others get where they are is the biggest satisfying thing to me I could do in the sport. It's amazing to watch. There's great careers coming out of them, and you know, it brings a tear to my eye to watch them, and they're good, which kind of sucks if you're racing against them, but outside of that. I remember I was teaching Legend Car School at Barrie Speedway. I had a gentleman that was coming to the school. He gave me a call. He said, yeah, I'm in the school. Do you think I could bring my son? I said, I don't know. How old's your son? I thought he was 13. I did hear tonight he was 12, but I said, I have no problem as long as he'll listen. Well, I'll tell you, this kid got in the car. We boosted him up on some little cushions. I think it was a NASCAR pillow we put underneath, and my dad strapped him in. And within 2 laps, I knew. I looked at his dad. I said, I just cost you $1 million. So for years, it went on that every time we'd see each other, we'd have a drink, and I'd say, I cost you $1 million. No, you cost me more. It is with great pleasure to say that young man's here today and will be inducted. James, your dad is so proud of you, and it's my honor to be here with you and get inducted. Very much so. I would also like to thank and congratulate Brad Moran. Brad and I have been friends a long time. We were actually graphic artists together back in 1989 and all the way through. Brad came into the race scene. We raced the same cars. We did all kinds of things. Brad's going to get inducted. We've been friends for a long time. I could tell you, Brad, Canada is very proud of you, what you're doing with NASCAR. You're doing a great job. We love you, kid. My friendships mean everything to me. I'll tell you, I have lots of friends. I mean, they've traveled across the country to watch me race, whether they could afford to, not afford to, whatever it is. They've been to racetracks everywhere and maybe a few bars along the way, but that's a whole other thing. I thank you so much, all my friends. In closing, I will say, I think I have 143 NASCAR starts. I will make 145. I will go to Nova Scotia this year and race in honor of my mom. We lost my mom in 2007. We went there. We won the next week. I'm going back. I will end my career in Saskatoon at the Leland 250 in July. It'll be bittersweet, but I know I'm ready to pack it up. I'll tell you how I knew that. I raced the Toronto Indy a couple of years ago, got out of the car, a lady came up and said, okay, are you ready for the 5K run? 5K run. Oh yeah, they're gonna do a 5K run now. No, I'm ready for the Uber, Jack Astor's, and a double Crown and Diet. Thank you. I love you all.
Congratulations, Mark. Thank you. Can't wait for those starts this season. Our next inductee, a competitor who's moved into the media and danced his way to the top.
Our next inductee has become a household name in Canadian motorsport as one of its most popular drivers ever. This Oakville native started racing karts in 1995, advancing to cars in 2003. He climbed the ladder through the Bridgestone Racing Academy F2000 Series, Formula BMW USA, and Champ Car Atlantic Series before competing in Indy Lights in 2009. James Hinchcliffe made his IndyCar debut with Newman Haas Racing in 2011, recording his first top 5 finish in just his second start and winning Rookie of the Year, despite missing the season opener. He raced for Andretti Autosport from 2012 to 2014, picking up his first win in the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg in Florida, adding victories at Sao Paulo, Brazil, and Iowa. He moved to Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports in 2015, winning at NOLA, New Orleans. While practicing for that season's Indianapolis 500, a suspension failure caused a crash that nearly claimed his life. But after a year of recovery, Hinch returned to IndyCar and the Speedway, winning the pole position for the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500, where he finished 7th. He added wins at Long Beach and Iowa. He returned to Andretti Autosport for the 2020 and 2021 seasons. Outside of the race car, the mayor of Hinchtown endeared fans through his social media presence, podcasts, and his stellar performance on ABC's Dancing with the Stars. He seamlessly transitioned from the driver's seat to the broadcast booth in 2022, joining NBC Sports as an analyst on their IndyCar telecasts and Formula One assignments. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the 2023 class of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, James Hinchcliffe.
Joining James on stage is his presenter, Mama Hinch, Arlene Hinchcliffe.
Hello, good evening. First and foremost, I just want to thank the board and everybody at the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame for this. I was a little bit surprised when I got the phone call. Peter, I won't lie, I was like, I'm only 37, man. That's made me feel a little old. A little bit of respite came when they told me I was the youngest inductee, but that still made me feel, I'm not done, man. Whoever runs the website is going to be really mad when they have to add 2025 Rolex 24 winner, to the bio, but whatever. Working on that. Okay, perfect. I've been so lucky to live out my dream of being a professional racing driver. So many kids grow up. I think every 5-year-old boy wants to be a firefighter, an astronaut, or a race car driver. I just never grew up. And was so lucky to be able to do that, to be able to travel the world, racing cars, reach an incredible level. And I did it as a fiercely proud Canadian. That was always very important to me. It was important to me to represent the country well, try to give people back home someone to cheer for and something to be proud of. And then hopefully something I accomplished in my career. We're a small country, population-wise, but Canada pumps out a lot of very good racing drivers and engineers and designers and people in this motorsports community, and it truly has been a privilege to be a part of that for the last, too many years. Many Canadians actually helped me out along the way, whether it was guys like Bob and Andrew Mason, who kind of put me into my first go-kart, Mark Dilley, who we just heard, put me into my first race car. Dad is still pissed you did that, by the way. It was a lot more than $1 million. The Willis brothers, Ian and Keith, they helped me out tremendously. Of course, Eric Sprott was the sponsor you saw in that first IndyCar. Without him, there's no way I would have had the opportunity to do, what I got to do. But one of the recurring themes I think you've already heard tonight and you're going to continue to hear tonight is about family. And I was so blessed to be, put into a family that was so supportive of this sport. Many of them are here. Obviously, my mom, Arlene, my sister, Rebecca, my brother, Chris, he's back home. Big guy, Dad, he's watching. This was something that was so special to him, the Hall of Fame. He was a board member for a long time. And he was the one that kind of introduced me to this world and really taught me to understand and appreciate how important it is to celebrate the history of this country in this community in motorsports. And so I can't thank him enough for those little lessons along the way, like bringing me here and meeting a lot of the people I know in this room I met before I ever drove a race car because, Dad would bring me to things like this and really try to ingrain that into me. And then obviously, he was kind of my number one supporter throughout it all. My beautiful wife, Becky, who was happy when I stepped back from IndyCar because it meant her Sunday consumption of Sauvignon Blanc went down a little bit. But then Steve Bortolotti called me up and said, hey, you want to go racing again? So yeah, Sundays are a little bit tipsy again back in the Hinchcliffe household. Thanks, boss. Don Rohr, my manager of the last, again, decade plus, is here tonight as well, and he's been a huge instrument in getting me to this place. And again, it's surreal being up here, honestly, because I look back, at those pictures and of the story and just cannot believe that that's what I've been able to do. And it's awesome being here, looking out over this room, seeing past inductees, future inductees, Parker's here, Matt Clark's here, Zachary's here, all these young Canadians. We have such a great pipeline of young drivers coming up. I want to do what I can to help them achieve the same goals and everything that they want to achieve in this sport. And it was funny because Media Day on Thursday, whatever it was, someone in the crowd asked a question when we were doing something up at the FAF booth, which was, how do we protect and ensure that the history of Canadian motorsports is not forgotten? And the answer is this. And everybody that's been involved in the Hall, all the hard work that goes into not just events like this, but what happens all year long, you guys are doing incredible work and very important work to preserve the incredible accomplishments of Canadians throughout motorsports globally. So I thank everybody involved in the Hall, everyone that had any part and has ever had any part in the now 4 decades of doing this. Peter, you and your team, it's just incredible, and it's a huge honor to be here tonight. So thank you all so much, and again, thanks Mom, thanks Dad, thanks everybody, appreciate it.
Congratulations, James. Our next honoree, a competitor and a builder of the sport in off-road racing action and sports cars.
Ernie Jakubowski started his motorsports career in off-road racing, where he was the Canadian off-road overall and class champion from 1973 to 1984. He found success in other forms of racing early on, including CASC ice racing, winning that championship in 1976. He was also named to the Wheelspin News All-Canadian Racing Team, alongside notables such as Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame inductees Junior Hanley, Gilles Villeneuve, and Pete Bicknell. Jakubowski was the Molson Supercross champion in 1984. He finished third in Montreal and first at the Hoosier Dome in Supercross, driving off-road dune buggies. He won 28 of 32 features over a 3-year period, winning his last race at the 1986 Oktoberfest in Kitchener. He ran 121 Porsche Club races from 2004 to 2019, winning nearly half of those events. He was a modern class winner in the 2003 and 2005 Targa Newfoundland rallies and won GTS Rookie of the Year in the Pirelli World Challenge. More recently, he competed in the Canadian Touring Car Championship and CASC Verac Vintage Races. Jakubowski was a driving instructor as well for Porsche and BMW, teaching champion Ryan Blaney and Ross Chastain at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park ahead of the NASCAR Truck Series race there in 2013. He founded Mantis Racing in 1976, designing off-road cars, including the Mantis Spider, while building customer cars, engines, and transmissions until 2021. He also helped develop a wind tunnel program for testing at Ontario Tech University. Please welcome to the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, Ernie Jakubowski.
Joining as presenter is Margaret Jakubowski.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the Motorsports Hall of Fame for putting this on, and I think it's very important for the auto racing that we do in Canada. I'd like to first thank my family. A few of them have passed away, which were quite instrumental in helping me along my way. My older brother, until he passed away, he was always with me. I also like to thank all the fans, the racers, between all the different disciplines that I've raced. I'd like to also thank Pat Hogan. He worked at Canadian Stock Car Products with me. And I'd also thank Brad Francis, who we both worked together in designing a late model stock car that was one of the Coca-Cola cars. And those people kind of really, in the early 70s, helped me develop all the skills that I ended up having and still kind of have. And also Pirelli World Challenge, they invited me to race with them. I raced with them for 3 years, and it was quite an eye-opening experience to run with what I would call professionals and teams that had a lot more money than what I spent. But you end up learning how to be humble because I was winning a lot of stuff, all the other races, but Pirelli World Challenge, that was a little tough. But I did come in second at the C&E in Pirelli World Challenge. So I'd really like to thank everybody for coming and the continuation of having this be here. And that's it. Thank you.
Congratulations, Ernie, and thank you. We'll next recognize in the competitor category karting winner and a leader in the sport.
Our next inductee waited until he was 19 years old to start racing. Norman Jennings made his karting debut in 1978. He won class championships at the North Halton Kart Club in 1981 to begin a stretch of full-time sessions at the club's regional, national, and international levels. He competed in 160 kart races over a 9-year span, recording 82 podiums and 116 top 5 finishes while winning championships in 85 and 87. Jennings was one of only 2 Canadians to compete in the Yamaha Challenge at the 1986 FIA World Karting Championships. He raced for the Ultra Kart team in the 1988 Ontario Kart Racing Association season and for Kart Clinic in 1989 and 1990. He then worked as a mechanic for Kart Clinic, where his Ultra Kart team won the Ontario Kart Racing Association Championship in 1992. Following 195 kart races over an 18-year span, Jennings concluded his driving career and took on leadership roles in the sport. He became the first national karting steward for ASN Canada FIA in 1997 and was chief steward for OKRA regional events from 1998 to 2005. He worked closely with Paul Cook at ASN Canada FIA, doing training sessions and meetings, helping to create and update national regulations. Jennings was chief steward for the ASN Canadian Karting Championships from 1999 to 2019. He was chief steward for the Motomaster Ron Fellows Karting Championship in 2019 and became the GDS ASN Canada National Steward in 2020. A warm welcome, please, into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame for Norm Jennings.
Accompanying Norm as presenters Bill Oakman.
Thank you. I hope I don't get Denny engaged here. He's been pretty good so far. Hi, Norm. I'm usually speaking to 100 or 200 eager kart racing drivers on the morning of a race, and usually that's rules and regulations, but this is a little bit different. First, I'd like to thank my nominator and presenter, Bill Oakman, National Karting Race Director, who I've worked with at countless events over many years. And Michelle Ryan Williston, former ASN Canada FIA Administrator, who was my original nominator 2 years ago. Others who supported my nomination include Rob Turner, longtime national karting starter, and Scott Maxwell, successful racer and development driver with Multimatic. Scott is a member of the Hall. He was one of the up-and-coming young drivers I competed against when we were both in our early years of karting. Here are some quotes from multiple Formula One world champion. I started racing go-karts, and I love karts. It's the most breathtaking sport in the world. It was pure racing, pure driving. And of course, those quotes are from Ayrton Senna, fondly recalling his days in karting. I did not grow up in a racing family. My dad, however, did take me to Motorsport to see Can-Am and Formula One races. Like any young person captivated by racing, I wanted to compete, but my part-time summer jobs while I was in high school or university were not going to fund much of a racing program. My friend Doug Sweet was doing an article on kart racing for a local newspaper. We went to the North Halton Kart Club track in Georgetown to see a race. Shortly after, we heard of someone with a well-used kart for sale. For a few $100s, I had a Margate chassis and a McCullough engine. We practiced in parking lots and planned on going the racing the next year. I was 19 years old at the time. After a couple of frustrating shoestring budget years, I graduated from university and got a full-time job. Now I had an income that could be spent on racing. I decided I would go to every race at the North Halton Club as long as I was in contention for the championship. Went down to the last heat of the last race, but I won the championship with the highest points in the largest class. I was now 24 years old. Many racers who start in karts when they were very young and did not move on to racing cars might have retired by then. I was really just getting serious about karting. During a 9-year period, racing just about every weekend in Canada or the US, in 165 races, I was proud to get on the podium over 50% of the time and in the top 5 over 70% of the time. Each year, there were always a good crop of new young challengers. 18 years after my first kart race, I hung up the helmet. My record of racing is not what got me to this induction ceremony today, but it did build a base of experience for what happened next. When ASN Canada FIA wanted to build karting on a national level in the mid-1990s, they asked Roy Bryden to become National Karting Director. Roy led a formidable kart racing team, Kart Clinic, that supported numerous drivers over the years, including me in the later years I raced. Many here will remember Roy as the manager of the Hall of Fame when it had a wonderful space at the old Hockey Hall of Fame building on the CNE grounds. In 1997, Roy asked me to become the first ASN Canada FIA National Karting Steward. This started a journey I'm still on today. In those days, the CIK FIA had numerous international events in Canada and the USA. Young drivers, including Nico Rosberg, Fernando Alonso, and Lewis Hamilton, all came to Canada to race in karts. That was the environment where I gained my early experience as a steward and an event organizer. These were the standards that ASN's ongoing involvement in karting were built on. In the late 1990s, Paul Cook became National Karting Director. This started a 20-year period where I worked closely with Paul on national and international events. With his vast experience at all levels of motorsport and in life itself, I learned so much from Paul. Being a steward is seldom easy, but Paul always supported me, mentored me, and always had my back. Apart from being a colleague, Paul and Cherie Cook remain great friends. They are not here tonight, but Paul told me he would be watching the live feed, so thank you, Paul. With the support of the entire ASN Canada FIA team, we built a set of regulations and race procedures that were adopted across the country. When the ASN Canada FIA resigned from the FIA, the new Canadian ASN, GDS ASN Canada, and Ron Fellows invited me to continue as National Karting Steward. I first worked with Ron on the legendary Sunoco Ron Fellows Karting Championship, which produced numerous drivers who continue racing today, including Robert Wickens, Daniel Morad, Carl Marcelli, and of course James Hinchcliffe. Karting is an entry point for many into motorsports. Some move on to cars, but the majority remain in karts, as I did. Racing is one of the few sports where males and females can compete on equal terms. We need to continue to promote women in motorsports. For a good portion of my racing career, I had a female mechanic, Mary Lou Whaling. When I stopped racing, Mary Lou became the driver and I became the mechanic. Today, female drivers typically only make up 5% of the entries. We need to increase that number. My message to parents of aspiring racers, put your sons and your daughters in karts. And in closing, just like to say you never consider when you throw an old cart into the trunk of your father's car that it could lead you here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Norm. Congratulations. We have our first media honoree of the evening. He had a big smile, he had a vision, and had a dream that was realized.
Our next inductee was a driving force as a member of the media and a national ambassador of Canadian motorsport through his roles as co-host and executive producer of Raceline Motorsport Television and Radio and Snow Tracks Television.
Hi, welcome to this week's go-around of Snow Tracks Television. It's great to have you along for the ride.
The late John Massingberd joins the media category of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. In the late 1980s, Massingberd and fellow Canadian Motorsport Hall of Famer Bruce Mellenbacher co-established ProMark Motorsport International, a company that brought Canadian racing to a greater audience through a pair of broadcast ventures. Raceline Motorsport Television provided coverage of drag racing, stock car racing, road racing, and specialty events like truck and tractor pulls, while Snow Tracks Television was a snowmobile adventure program syndicated across North America. Massingberd was also co-founder, producer, and co-anchor of the Raceline Radio Network, launched in 1992. Along with fellow Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame inductee and co-anchor Eric Thomas, Massingberd broke new ground with exclusive radio coverage of motorsport in Canada, with Raceline being Canada's first nationally syndicated motorsport radio program. That legacy continued through 31 years, with Raceline Radio airing on stations across Canada, including flagship outlets Sportsnet 590 The Fan Toronto and Global News Radio 900 CHML in Hamilton. Massingberd became known for his no-holds-barred comments, perceptions of the sport, knowledge, and professionalism. He passed away in December of 2008 following a long battle with ALS. He was only 54 years old. In addition to the ongoing success of Raceline Radio, his memory lives on through the John Massingberd Memorial Award presented by the Pro Modified Racing Association to an individual who represents the same commitment, dedication, and passion that Massingberd had for auto racing. Please welcome posthumously into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, John Massingberd.
I thought you might like that last photo. Bruce Mellenbacher is presenting to Paul and John Massingberd.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to, first of all, thank the board and everybody involved with the Hall of Fame for inducting John, especially Bruce. It wouldn't have happened without you. Tonight we have members of John's two families, my son and my brother, and John's radio and TV people are somewhere up there, a bunch of you. Anyway, thanks for coming. At heart, John was a racer. He never raced, but he lived interviewing you guys, telling your stories. Whether it was Mark Dilley or Junior Hanley on the ovals, Don Garlitz or Shirley Muldowney at the drag strip, or Paul Tracy or Mario Andretti at Toronto Indy. Sorry, Hinch, he was before your time. Anyway, he really lived through you guys telling your stories, and tonight, thanks for telling his. Thank you.
Our next inductee is also in the competitor category. He ran a local track, and now he is the big boss.
Hailing from Scarborough, Ontario, our next inductee's motorsports career started as a driver, competing in motocross and ice racing as a teenager in the 1970s. He later moved to stock cars at Sunset and Peterborough Speedways before racing regionally in the 1980s, driving Legends cars in Ontario and the United States. Brad Moran sold his two businesses and became owner of Barrie Speedway from 2000 to 2008, where he transformed the track from a quarter mile to a 1/3 mile banked oval, adding a pit road and heated grandstands. He also signed a TV deal with Rogers in the early years, which saw races broadcast live Ontario-wide, and he was at the helm when Barrie Speedway became a NASCAR-sanctioned facility. Moran's climb to the NASCAR ranks began as series director of the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series from 2008 to 2012. His dedication to the sport helped the NASCAR Canada Series become a strong national entity. NASCAR's head office took notice and moved Moran south of the border to become the managing director of NASCAR's Touring Series from 2012 to 2015, overseeing 60-plus tracks and 7 regional and international series under the NASCAR banner. He developed the spec engine for the NASCAR Modified Series and composite bodies for the ARCA K&N Series. Moran took on the role of managing director for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series from 2015 to 2021, implementing the Ilmor spec engine program and overseeing the series during the COVID pandemic. He was most recently promoted to managing director of the NASCAR Cup Series in 2022, introducing the next-gen car and new inspection procedures. He has become a key player in NASCAR management. Please welcome into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, Brad Moran.
As you saw in the video, Brad's job has him unable to attend with us here in Toronto tonight, but there he is in Daytona and trying to wish away all the rain and all the clouds right now. Brad did get his medallion presented to him a little bit earlier today. It was Steve O'Donnell, who was the Chief Operating Officer of NASCAR, who presented that to Brad a little bit earlier today, and he's joining us now live via Zoom. Hey, Brad, good to see you.
Thanks for having me on. I'd first just like to start by thanking all the members of the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame, many who I've had the opportunity to work with, Joel, Todd, Greg, everything you've done to support motorsports in Canada. It certainly would not be near as popular without all the effort and work you guys do, so I appreciate that. To my buddy Dilley, congratulations. I was really hoping you'd get a black flag to take the pressure off me. You didn't do it, but I'm going to do my best job to not get one more black flag here as we go. Just what an absolute honor to be inducted into the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame. I never dreamed of that day. To have your peers notice you and recognize you for the hard work and effort you put into the industry, it just puts everything into perspective. I'd also like to thank all the other 2023 inductees. It's just unbelievable. I mean, wow, unbelievable to share this honor, with all the talent and accomplished past and present inductees it's just unreal. Racing's always been my passion since I was about 10 years old. I've loved every form of racing. I've always loved all forms of motorsports. When I sold my spring business, I purchased Barrie Speedway. I thought pretty good gig. You know, race seasons, May to October. I'll go live on the lake up in cottage country, work about 24 days a year. Not a bad gig. Wow, was I wrong. Day one, we started off. Guardrails were coming out. We were filling both front stretch opening, back stretch opening, and the improvements never stopped during our time at Barrie Speedway. I'd like to thank all the people and companies that helped to make all that possible. Over 160 companies who supported me from day one, Oro Township, great partners who recognized the importance of a short track, you know, in their community, and they were always very supportive. All of the competitors that stuck with me through a lot of competitive efficiency changes that are still being used throughout the country today. We had some of the best racing in the country. We had full grandstands every week. And boy, did we have some fun along the way. When I sold Barrie Speedway, the one and only stipulation I put in my non-competition clause was that they had no restrictions on any position, if ever offered, from NASCAR. It was the only thing that I put in there because really I wasn't sure what my next move was. And funny enough, my next move, my next chapter ended up being with NASCAR. I want to thank everyone who supported the NASCAR Canada Series, from all the promoters, sponsors, all the competitors, and all the officials that worked with me through that time. I've been fortunate that I've been able to do what I love and do it around the world. I helped grow the sport. I helped put on great shows, and I'm so fortunate that I had that opportunity to do it. And NASCAR gave me that opportunity. I'd like to thank Mike Helton, the France family, Lisa, Ben, Jim, Steve Phelps, Steve O'Donnell, John Probst, Elton Sawyer, and Scott Miller for all the opportunities they've given me within NASCAR. It's more than special when you pull off some of the greatest events in the world. And I'm fortunate to be part of the NASCAR family and the biggest motorsports show around. I'd like to end by thanking my wife, Jo, who most of you know from around the track. I think you all know she's been my constant and biggest supporter. She's in the room with me here hiding. I love you, Jo. My second best friend and mentor, Hank Okada. I wish he was here to see where we landed. I'll get in trouble if I get sappy. Played a big part in my life, gave me a lot of opportunities. Thanks to all my family that's there supporting the deal tonight. Hope you're having fun. And everybody have a great 2024 season. Please keep supporting this wonderful Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame. They all do such an outstanding job. Have a great night, and I hope everybody enjoys the Daytona 500. Thank you.
Hey, Brad, just before we let you go, and our fingers are crossed, I know you've got some pull, and you'll be trying to call everyone you can. What do you, who do you like tomorrow, and what do you think the odds of getting the 500 in are? I know we're all hoping that rain gets out of the way.
Yeah, we're hoping. We've got the cars inspected. They're all in the garage. They're ready to go. We have final adjustments. The forecast isn't looking great, but as everybody in the room, I'm sure knows that they can be wrong, and we've pulled a lot of good ones out of our hat. So we're hoping for the best. If not, I'll guarantee you when we run it, if it be Monday, it's going to be a great show. I don't know who's going to get it. It's anybody's opportunity, but I could pretty much bet, from the duels that we watched the other day, I think it's going to be pretty exciting, and it's, again, just an honor to be here, and I really appreciate everything that everybody did, and I'm just honored and humbled by the award.
We want to show the video of you getting your award a little bit earlier today with Steve O'Donnell, the chief operating officer, of NASCAR, who was a bit of a surprise. We were trying to sneak it up on you and not let you know that it was happening.
Up in the tower, and we had some friends there, a lot of people from Europe, Mexico, all kinds of folks that I work with. And it was really special. No, I had no idea. I mean, I had no idea I was getting inducted, and I certainly had no idea that the award would be there. And I'll treasure it for as long as I'm around.
Congratulations again, Brad. Fingers crossed. Have a great race tomorrow or Monday if you have to wait. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
All right, that's Brad Moran. Our next honoree is also a member of the media, and he has probably written more words about racing than any of us will ever consume.
Through 36 seasons as a motorsports journalist, J. Wally Nesbit has written it all. He started his media career in 1986, producing a seasonal motorsport column for the Port Perry Star and the Scugog Standard through 2016. He was the track reporter for Motorsport Speedway from 1998 to 2013, publishing a book about the track. He's also written reports and driver profiles for the Toronto Star. Nesbit produced press releases for the Canadian Touring Car Championship in 2016 and 17, while doing similar work pro bono for various drivers and teams over the years. He joined Inside Track Motorsport News in 2007, where he was senior writer and online editor until his retirement in December of 2022. With Inside Track, Nesbit wrote race reports, news, and driver profiles about multiple disciplines, from short track and regional road racing to Canadian Touring Series and International Support Series. He's also contributed to the NASCAR Canada Series, Verac Vintage Grand Prix, and Motorama programs while compiling schedules for the annual Canadian Racing Guide. Nesbit has covered events ranging from the Vancouver IndyCar and Montreal NASCAR races to the Grand Prix Trois-Rivières, or reporting from tracks such as Circuit Icar, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and virtually every short track in Ontario. Please welcome into the media category for the 2023 class of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, Wally Nesbit.
Boy, oh boy, for so many years, you went to a racetrack, Wally was there. You went to a racetrack, Wally was there. And as they say, he wrote so many words. Congratulations, Wally, and presenting Wally with his medallion is Perry Mason.
As any of my editors will tell you, I never found a word count that I couldn't exceed. So I fully expect to get the black flag tonight, although under NASCAR regulations I have 3 laps to answer it. Thank you. When I was first approached by friends who suggested I apply for induction into the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame, I declined, citing the amazing accomplishments of the previous media inductees. However, eventually bowing to pressure, while certainly entertaining maybe a little bit of ego, and having received some very flattering letters of recommendation from people such as Ron Fellows and Ted Mikolos and James Nielsen and Parker Thompson, my friend, that Audi racing fanatical guy, Perry Mason, filed the paperwork on my behalf. Still doubting the viability of my application, I must admit that when Peter Lockhart called me to advise me of my acceptance, I was momentarily stunned into silence, and most people know that that is a true rarity. From the start of my reporting career, my journey has been guided by a line of very, very patient editors. People such as the Port Perry Star's Peter Vinston, who gave me space for my first column in April of 1986, and subsequently the late John McClellan. Then it was the Standard newspapers, Rick Davey and Darrell Knight and Colin Green, and ultimately Greg McPherson and James Nielsen from Inside Track Communications, these people doing their best to transform me into something resembling a respectable writer/reporter. I need to thank these people for their many lessons, for their support, their guidance, and again, their patience. I would also like to thank the many talented photographers, like this guy sitting right down here in front, whose photos brought color to my words. But I especially need to thank the readers for making my efforts applicable. At this time, I would also like to thank Miles Brandt and Glenn Butt from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park for having enough faith in my abilities to ask me to become the track reporter for Motorsport Speedway. During my time involved in the sport, I had the opportunity to visit many racetracks and met many amazing people. Out of all of these encounters, I especially need to thank the innumerable team members and race drivers I've had the honor and pleasure of associating with over those 36 years. Because it's what those people did, both on the track and off, that made my job so much easier and so very memorable. We are all aware of the emotional ups and downs of motorsports. The members of the press also face those same emotional extremes. For me, penning the final stories of such drivers as Greg Moore and Mike Gagliardo and Dino Crescentini were painful experiences. At the other end of the emotional spectrum, however, were occasions such as being in the winner's circle at Motorsport, as Ron Fellows celebrated his first career Trans Am victory, or spending 2 hours bench racing with Scott Goodyear, when I had originally called him to simply ask about his favorite race car, or watching so many Canadian up-and-comers like Scott Maxwell and Kyle Marcelli and James Hinchcliffe and Daniel Murad and Zach Robichon and Roman DeAngelis and Parker Thompson graduate into successful international race-winning champions. I'm so proud to know those fellas. Recalling incidents such as these highlights has always managed to push the bad memories aside. Adding tonight's Hall of Fame induction to my highlight memory bank is simply the cherry on top to what was a great period in my life. There are so many people who have made this evening possible for me, from the ones who I have named to the many more who I simply don't have time to acknowledge tonight, and to those people I apologize. It may be my name that is on this medallion, but there are many, many people who also own a piece of this award. To conclude, I would once again like to thank Perry Mason for managing all of that messy computer stuff for me. To Peter Lockhart for bringing a big smile to my face with one phone call. To the Hall of Fame's Robin Virtue for going above and beyond to handle logistics of getting this crippled up old man onto the stage tonight. But especially to the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame Board and Selection Committee for their decision to allow me to become a part of this very prestigious fraternity. And to everyone who came out tonight to help us celebrate the induction of the class of 23, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Wally. Next up, in the competitor category, he was very fast and had a hugely successful career.
Our next inductee achieved great success in road rallying, competing across North America and Europe in the 2000s with flashy, flamboyant style. Pat Rocket Richard catapulted onto the Canadian rally scene with ferocity, winning the Canadian Rally Championship 4 times, the North American Rally Championship in Group N twice, and the 2004 North American Rally Cup. The Halifax, Nova Scotia native was anchor of 4 victories for Subaru in the North American Rally Brands Cup in the early 2000s, while winning overall and Group and SCCA Pro Rally Championships in 2004 with his sister and fellow Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame inductee Natalie Richard as his co-driver. He won the Rally America Overall and Group N title in 2005 and the Pikes Peak Championship twice in Group N. Along with legends John Buffum and Ken Block, Richard was one of a few North American rallyists to compete in Europe. He drove in the British Peugeot Super Cup, often leading and recording fastest stage times, and won the Group N class at events in Belgium. Back home, he founded Rocket Rally Racing, a Squamish, BC-based rally car builder that operated Subaru Rally Team Canada from 2008 to 2012. A medical setback forced Richard into early retirement in 2014, ending his historic battles with eventual 10-time champion and fellow Canadian Motorsport Hall of Famer Antoine Lestage. He has been an inspiration to the next generation of rally drivers with videos of his flat-out driving style. Please welcome into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, Pat Richard.
Unfortunately, Pat Richard is unable to attend with us this evening. Accepting on his behalf is another Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame member, Lawrence Partington.
Well, I'm sorry Pat couldn't be here. He'd give some kind of a humble speech, and he'd thank his co-drivers and Christopher Bowes, who actually nominated him. A lot of that video was shot by my production company. He made the shows look good by his crazy driving. Pat, if you're watching on the live stream back in BC, get well, and congratulations.
Thank you, Lawrence, and congratulations, Pat. Our next honoree, a competitor still competing today and also a busy member of the media.
Our next inductees had direct impact on motorsports in Quebec for more than 30 years. Didier Schraenen started in 2-wheel competition before moving to 4 wheels while he worked as well as a broadcaster. He raced in regional Quebec motocross starting in 1975 before moving to the Honda Michelin Series in 1988. 3 seasons on the tour were followed by a 2-year stint in the Players GM Series. Schraenen joined the Quebec-based F1600 Canada Series in 1993, starting a decades-long tenure that continues to this day. He's raced in more than 300 events over 31 years, winning 4 championships. He's the all-time podium record holder at Montreal Circuit Gilles Villeneuve with 15 and has 20 podiums in the prestigious Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières street race. For nearly as long as Schraenen has raced, he's been involved in the media side of the sport. He started as a radio host in Saint-Agathe, Quebec in 1979 before moving to Radio Énergie, where he did 250 motorsport reports per year and covered 30 years of Bike Week at Daytona, Florida, reporting on Canadian riders. Schraenen joined RDS as a TV commentator in 1992, serving as an analyst on 130 programs per year, ranging from snowmobiles and karting to NASCAR and IndyCar. As a pit reporter for RDS, he called on his experience behind the wheel to explain the nuances of the sport. In addition to RDS, he covered Kart IndyCar, Indy Lights, and Formula Atlantic for the Players Racing Team from 1993 to 2013, and has 25 years of experience as a writer for Pole Position magazine. Please welcome into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, Didier Schraenen.
Kuno is going to accept the award for Didier Schraenen. Denny put the black flag down for a moment to accept the medallion.
I'll be able to talk all I want. Thank you.
Denny's not going to speak, but Didier, unfortunately, unable to attend due to a last-minute tight schedule, but he did send us a video to acknowledge his receiving the award.
Bonsoir tout le monde. Hi, everybody. Because English is not my first language, as you probably noticed already, I wrote a little something for you tonight. Good evening, everyone. If I'm not with you this evening, it's because of my passion for motorsports. I experience it in all its form. Behind the wheel or behind the microphone or in front of the camera. As you probably know, it's the Daytona 500 weekend, and I will have the pleasure of presenting it on RDS for a 30th time this weekend. What is special is that I've been inducted this evening. For my 35 years, I was a race car driver, and not for my 45 years of describing races on site or on television. Cars, motorcycle, boat, on water, ice, dirt, or asphalt. At RDS, I must be getting close to 3,000 broadcasts, and as many on radio probably. And now I am inducted alongside true icons of Canadian motorsports like James Hinchcliffe, who I interviewed for an article in the Pole Position magazine just 3 weeks ago at the 24 Hours of Daytona. In about 10 years, that guy has 18 podiums, including 6 victories in IndyCar and a pole position at the Indianapolis 500. It's an honor for me to be alongside driver and co-drivers like the Sprongls and Pat Richard, whose performances I describe on TV. There is also Kuno Wittmer, GT Pro Champion in IMSA. This guy that I often beat on the Michelin Series and on Formula 1600, but what an exceptional professional career. Congratulations, Kuno. I may have raced on the Michelin, Players GM, Motorola Cup, NASCAR Canada, Barber Dodge Pro Series. I may have tested a Formula Atlantic and an Indy Lights. Thank you for that, for Brian, from Brian Stewart. Or even an IndyCar. Yeah. The old man has the chance to drive an IndyCar when the team players switch chassis from Reynard to Lola. I was invited by Bob Bexon, CEO of Imperial Tobacco, for what he called a fun day. It was really fun. Although I have also done a little rally or race on ice at the Sherbrooke Challenge, it's during my last 30 years that I have accumulated the majority of my 132 podium, 32 victories, 42 poles in Formula 1600, where I won 4 championships. Speaking about Formula 1600, if I find myself at the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, it's because of 3 exceptional gentlemen, Jacques Cadorette, Marc Montmigny, and Mario Villeneuve, who deserve to be inducted for their passion and for the car that I have driven for the last 27 years, and which still runs up front despite a 68 years old driver at the wheel. The CMB, Cadorette, Montmigny, Villeneuve, design and build in Granby, Quebec, compete with recognized manufacturers such as the Van Diemen's, Swift and Vectors from England, the Spectrum from Australia, the American Piper or the French Mégane, and we're still competitive with a 27 years old car. Unfortunately, Mr. Cadorette died last year, as did our chief mechanics and great friend, François Précourt, who has been faithful to the team since the very beginning. This career that I began at 32 years old would not have been possible without the support of important people and groups. I think of the Radio Énergie Network and Le Réseau des Sports, who supported me for 30 years. I'm thinking about Napa for 18 years, the Quebec Chrysler Dodge Jeep Dealer Association for 8 years. I'm thinking about Letram Design and Camion Granby, who are with us since the last 35 years, believe it or not. And more recently, Festidrac Développement with the help of Prolon Control, JC Perrault, and Rousseau Metal. This evening, I'm thinking especially of Mr. Claude Hamel of the STCH Group, Transport et Logistique, a partner who became a great, great friend. This mentor has been following me and supporting me mentally and financially for the last 20 years. Without him, I would have retired a long time ago. Also with me for the last 20 years, my partner of life, Michaela Baggio. More than a lover, she took care of me and the old team all these years as if they were her family. My little boy, as she said. We shared so many happy and also sad moments. I also owe her my life, because if she had not had the presence of mind to go to the firefighters at the Gilles Villeneuve circuit after my heart attack followed by a cardiorespiratory arrest, I would no longer be with you to celebrate this unique moment. If you're still following me, it's also my two passions that saved my life. Being anywhere else than at a motorsport event like the Napa 200 after my Formula 1600 race, heading to the TV compound to host the NASCAR Canada race and the Xfinity race, I would not have survived. Finally, I want to thank a great man. I want to thank Mr. Peter Lockhart that I raced against. I want to thank his team at the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame for his recognition. Congratulations to all the inductees. Have a great evening. See you at the racetrack. On se voit plus tard.
Bonsoir, Didier. Merci. We have a brother combination next to be recognized in the competitor category.
We witness history as our next inductees are the first brother combination to enter the hall together. Competing in road rallying across North America, brothers Frank and Dan Sprongl became the dominant drivers of the 1990s in their Audi Quattro. The duo won 6 Canadian Rally Championship titles from 1991 to 1999, while claiming 4 North American Rally Cup championships from 94 to 99. They added 2 CRC two-wheel drive championships in the mid-2000s, recording 36 overall rally victories. Both competitors have achieved Grand Master status. That's an achievement bestowed on only a few members of the Canadian rally community. The Sprongls competed in and won rallies in 6 Canadian provinces, from Newfoundland to Alberta, while also taking their talent south of the border. They won 14 SCCA national rallies in the U.S., with major victories in 6 states, including 4 overall wins of the prestigious Mount Washington Hill Climb in New Hampshire. Frank and Dan competed in a variety of racing events during 23 years as drivers, with ice racing, hill climb, slalom, and stage rallying on their resumes. Their popularity as rally stars on European TV allowed them to import and distribute competition parts from manufacturers, and that helped improve the quality, speed, and safety of Canadian rally cars. They also enticed Suzuki to build 10 identical entry-level rally vehicles for a one-make championship in 2003. The Sprongls remain active in the shop, running 4-Star Motorsports from Georgetown, Ontario, alongside their parents, where they prepare rally, race, and movie cars. The team's success with other drivers includes Peter Thompson winning the 2005 CRC title, Andre LeBlanc winning the 2021 title, and Mark Rittenhouse in the 2016 Targa Newfoundland. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, Frank and Dan Sprongl.
Joining as presenters, Antoinette Sprongl for Dan Sprongl and Barbara Sprongl for Frank.
Don't leave yet. Frank? Yep. Dan? Congratulations. You guys go to the center here.
Wow. You know, the scariest thing was never getting strapped into the rally car. It was the public speaking portion. I'd like to thank everyone and the honor of being included in the Motorsport Hall of Fame with all these other great drivers. It's really nice to be here as part of a team. So many familiar, friendly faces, people you get to see outside of the car that you'd never get to see during a stage because we start at nighttime, rain, snow, darkness, so it's always good to see people outside of the event. No one who stands here tonight got to this position by themselves. Every successful competitor, regardless of what they drive or where they drive it, has had help and support to succeed. We're no different. From the earliest days, we've had unselfish support from our families. In the beginning, it's been both my mother and father who were at every event, helping financially, technically, and every other kind of support that helped two kids arrive from North Bay to get in cars, drive them, crash them, fix them again, and occasionally do the crashing again. Their sacrifices were real and unselfish. We could have not asked for better support. The original corner of our father's body shop became devoted to our rally cars. Eventually, it expanded steadily to taking over the whole shop. They never complained. When they weren't helping at the shop, we were driving all night to get to the events. My dad serviced the car. My mom was getting all the logistics ready, making food for the whole rally. When it didn't look like there was enough money to finish the car and get it to the event, we would sell one of the cars that we had or the parts that we've had put aside for a special occasion. And occasionally, a little help from Visa and MasterCard didn't hurt. Today, our spouses and kids have taken up the roles of supporters and helpers, and gratefully for everything they've done. In the same way, no one gets here without the help of some great sponsors. We have a terrific support and a good rapport with all of our sponsors, including Audi, Castrol, Pirelli, that worked with us for over the years. And while we love to beat them on the stages, we owe a big thank you to Subaru Canada for keeping the Canadian Rally champions and us on TV for all those years. For everyone who hasn't been to a performance rally, these events are complex to organize, impossibly difficult to staff. They rely on dozens and dozens of selfless volunteers to stand out in the weather-soaked, freezing rain, sweating bugs so big that you think they carry you away. The volunteers are the real heroes of the motorsport in Canada, and we salute them. Of course, our competitors we've been privileged to compete against were the very best teams in North America, and there have been a lot of them. As everyone here knows, good competition makes you better, and we found ways to be better when they pushed us. In the U.S., people like John Buffalo, Paul Chouinier, and Carl Merrill made us really work hard for our wins. Here in Canada, Tom Regier, Pat Richard, Alain Bergeron, and many others were all worthy competitors. We've benefited in so many ways, too. We've traveled back and forth across the continent and beyond and seen some extraordinary sights, met so many terrific people, and learned so much about our country along the way. We've been schooled in some amazing technologies, learned dozens of new skills, and been better for that experience. Finally, we never got tired of saying that rally is a team sport, but there are two people in the car with two different, very difficult jobs. One mistake on either side of the car can end a rally for you, or worse. The amount of trust is required is hard to explain. Each relies on the other, each trusts the other, and when it works, there's nothing like it. So tonight, we're pleased and grateful that we have a chance to stand here and accept this award. We are glad to see our sport gain the recognition we believe it deserves, and we encourage everyone here to think about how they can support the amateur levels of motorsports in the area. To thrive, the grassroots motorsports need feeding and watering, because you might just help a couple of kids from North Bay who could become champions one day. Thank you.
And that's why we have co-drivers. They do all the speeches for you and everything else. Your drivers get all the glory, right? Yeah, it's a great honor when Lawrence put our name forward towards the Hall of Fame to get inducted, and we got a phone call, we got inducted. It was a great honor for us, and especially for myself. So here goes a little speech I made up. I guess while I'm out here, it's a thank to everybody around us. Before I start the list, I would want to express my gratitude for being inducted to the Canadian Hall of Fame. First, I want to thank my parents for installing the love of rally in an early age. Without their encouragement, we would have never made it this far. They gave us everything we had for the past 20 years of competing in the events. And also my brother, the guy who's not really human, he's more like a robot, because you got to have nerves of steel to sit beside somebody and encounter the speeds and the dangerous roads that are being encountered during the rallies. He's a guy with steel nerves. Also want to give a shout out to Lawrence Partington earlier for nominating us, Bruno Krivik for all his guidance and support he's provided us over the years. I'm sure you're driving the best Audi in heaven now. Bruno, miss you dearly. Then I started our first rally in 1987 in an old 510 Datsun that my dad had. and we never looked back since then. In 1989, we bought our first Quattro, and in 91, we followed through with our first championship win. In 93, we built our Audi S2 and campaigned it until 91, winning many more titles over the years. We were never a factory team, we were always privateers, unfortunately. In 2005, we were offered a ride by Suzuki when we built the 10 Suzuki cars for Suzuki Canada. We took up the deal and competed for 2 years, winning production championships. I would also to thank my wife, Alana. Meeting her through the rally was unexpected. Our unwavering support and understanding, never once asking me to hang up my helmet, is more than I could ever expect. To Jen, your dance partner, with my brother, unwavering dedication to our rallying years activities has been indispensable. Thank you for all for being part of our journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan. Frank. This next honoree is in the builder category. He's a team owner that won a lot of championships and helped a lot of other racers further their careers.
Our next inductee played a significant role in Canadian Formula racing over multiple decades, helping drive the entry level of the sport as a builder and a team owner. Starting out as a driver in 1970, it didn't take long for Bill Vallis to shift focus to building and maintaining race cars. He started Vallis Motorsports in the mid-1970s, opening the rental side of the business in 1980. Vallis purchased the rights to build the BRD Formula V F1200 car from the Rochester, New York manufacturer in 1992. He went on to build 32 cars for the Canadian and U.S. markets. He's provided trackside mechanical support at road and street course events in Canada and abroad, working on cars for disciplines including FV1200, F1600, F2000, Prototype 1 and 2, Radicals, Sports 2000, Indy Lights, and Beetle Cup. As team owner, Vallis has won many championships over the years, while his Arrive and Drive rental seats have created consistent entries in F1200 since 1980, helping to keep the series alive in Canada. A simple approach to his business has helped his team provide the average person with an access point into Formula racing, whether they're a youngster climbing through the karting ladder or a middle-aged worker looking to, well, complete their bucket list. Vallis has helped notable drivers over the years, including fellow Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame inductees Scott Maxwell and Andrew Bourdin. He helped Megan Gilkis climb the motorsports ladder, helping her land a W Series ride and a Formula One engineering role. Please extend a warm welcome into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame to Bill Vallis.
Joining Bill on stage for the presentation is Aaron Vallis.
Thank you very much. Take that, and I'll do that.
The last time I stood on the stage and talked to people was grade 4. It didn't go real well. So if I turn and run off the stage, it's happened before. Don't worry about it. Coming late into this, or at the end of it, towards the end or whatever, a lot has been said, and I will back some of it up, but it's a huge honor. It's extremely humbling to be inducted into this Hall of Fame, both the people that are already in and those that are going in tonight. You wonder how you fit. It's obviously a huge honor, and as I said, it is extremely humbling to be here. My own personal opinion is that Canada, considering our weather conditions for seasons we get to race, our basic lack of funding, things like that. I truly believe on a per capita basis, Canada turns out their more than fair share of people who do well in the automotive racing industry. I would also like to thank the Hall of Fame for being here. I'm a very poor business person, so I can't imagine what kind of effort it takes to run this and keep it going. It's awesome that this little country, by way of population, gets to induct people who have done great things in motorsport because I'm in motorsport, so that's all right. The last 45 years, I've had the privilege of taking people racing. Probably in the dozens, maybe even in the hundreds, we've started people in our cars that they get their first race lap in one of our cars. Formula V is not the biggest horsepower car out there, but it still never ceases to have the people come in with the big smile or the huge eyes in the balaclava after their first lap or two, and it's been a huge honor to be able to be part of that. It's fortunately for me, the 5 minutes won't allow enough time to thank everybody individually. I will stay away from names because I know I'll mess that up anyway, but it has to be said that Vallis Motorsport has survived because of the people we've had support us. Those who came racing with us, most of them have stayed. We have people, even when their race careers have ended, we have people that have stayed around, given us a hand. We've had physical support, financial help. We've had business advice and general friendship from all the people we've dealt with. And we have a huge group, having been around long enough to accumulate that. And I'd like to thank everybody that has helped Vallis Motorsport at some point in time. You all know who you are, and it is greatly appreciated. I started out with no business plan, and the first 10 years, every time you got to the end of September, I was quite certain I was going to have to go out and get a real job. And then somehow through the winter, work would come in, and we started all over again, and we're 45 plus years down the road doing this and still having fun. We did build a car. We bought a already engineered program. We were able to build 32 of the cars, which I thought was quite outstanding, considering the number of people we have racing the V's in Canada. We were extremely lucky with that, and it brought us to customers that went from Formula V to bigger things, and we ended up getting called to go and asked if we would like to work on their cars and stuff. We did, so it took us through all the things that were mentioned earlier. We got to go from Indy Lights down to Formula V's and be part of everybody's program, which was quite an honor. Got to travel through the United States and Canada doing it, and we even got to go to a V race in Interlagos, Brazil, so it was very entertaining. Over the years, we've had young people come to the shop and work with us. Some have been doing apprenticeships, co-ops from high school, things like that. But we have had the privilege of these people going on to the major automotive manufacturers, the racing industry, racers themselves, and people have gone on and done well with what they've done, and we're extremely proud of our latest one that has gone from hanging around the shop, working on transmissions, to becoming a race engineer with Aston Martin F1. So again, a nice accomplishment. At this point, I have to point out how I have survived this, I guess, and the only way it's happened is that I was lucky enough to convince a woman to marry and hang around with me that has supported me in everything I've done here. Absolutely none of this would have been possible without my wife. As I said earlier, my wife Shirley has taken care of all the things that I have no business sense, computer skills, whatever to deal with. And if it had not been for her, none of this had happened. I wouldn't be here. So in closing, I would like to thank my wife and thank you all for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Congratulations. Also being inducted tonight in the builder category, started as a racer and became so much more to the sport of drag racing.
Our next inductee is a drag racing builder and ambassador. Through his sponsorships and involvement with teams, John Waldie has built a very impressive resume. His career started with the dragster in the mid-1960s before he became a team leader with an ex-Wally Booth Superstock Camaro in 1969. Waldie recorded 7 NHRA wins in the Pro Stock division in the 1980s and 90s with driver Jerry Ekman, including the 1990 U.S. Nationals and the 92 Grand Nationals in Montreal. The team was also the national record holder at Pomona in 92 and won a special NHRA Winston All-Star event. Following his involvement with the Pro Stock class, Waldie went on to help teams in the Pro Modified division. He recorded wins in the U.S. and Canada in the 2000s, including victories at Edmonton and Toronto Motorsports Park. He won 2 World IHRA Pro Mod titles in 2008 and 9 with driver Kenny Lang, and has a career total of 34 major Canadian and U.S. wins at sanctioned NHRA and IHRA national events. Waldie also worked with Pro Modified teams for several years to present a race package for national NHRA events, which ultimately led to the creation of the Fuel Tech NHRA Pro Mod Drag Racing Series. He works as an official with the series, which competes at selected NHRA events. Waldie's accolades include a pair of drag racing awards and induction into the Canadian Drag Racing Hall of Fame. Elsewhere in the sport, he's been involved with fellow Canadian Motorsport Hall of Famer Scott Steckley's stock car racing team in CASCAR and the NASCAR Canada Series. Please welcome into the 2023 class of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, John Waldie.
Joining John on stage as presenter, another Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame member is Dave Lloyd.
John, welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. There have been 3 key words said tonight, and we only have 1 more inductee, so we're okay. Those words were, I'm so honored, I'm so humbled. We want to thank so many people for everything they've done, and we thank you for attending. I thought perhaps I might just fill you in on a little bit of my sport of drag racing. Today, a top fuel dragster has 11,000 horsepower. So when we line up 2 of them, it's more power than the entire Formula One field. And Jim Bray, I think it's almost the entire field of the NASCAR cars. 32 years ago, Dale Armstrong, a Canadian, ran our first 300-mile-an-hour run in Gainesville, Florida. This past year, a close friend and a fellow inductee into our Drag Racing Hall of Fame, Rob Flynn, ran 300 miles an hour, 500 kilometers, in an eighth of a mile. We have an amazing sport of diversification. I was talking to Dario, and he said, you know, John, we've only had 1 woman IndyCar winner, Danica Patrick. In NHRA, we've had 125 women. And next year, a young lady that's only 17 from our hometown is going to enter the Pro Stock category. Our current champion, and she's won 8 World Championships, is Erica Enders. And with a little bit of humor, a lady by the name of Sue Latino and her business partner, Annie Whiteley, Sue, incidentally, is a Canadian, filled half the top 10 in Pro Stock last year. I guess I haven't mentioned either Jim Whiteley or Eric Latino. Husbands of them both. We have diversification in other areas. For instance, age-wise, my friend Chris Caramazzini's retired a year ago. He had a 300-mile-an-hour top-fuel dragster, and his granddaughter has taken over the controls. Chris was 90-plus years of age. Jim Bray, my hero, is here with us tonight, and he's in that same category. We have people that have won in a variety of cars and a variety background. We have people from Canada. We have people from Mexico. We have people from the Middle East. We have people from Japan. We have people from Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. We obviously have people of different ages. We have different race cars. We have Chevrolets and Fords. We have Hondas. We have Nissans. Amazing variety. For me, one of the most important things is our economy of scale. A drag racing credential, in other words, just an entry as a spectator, also affords you a pit pass. So you can get up close and friendly with racers, 74-year-old John Force, aforementioned Chris Caramazzini's. What about Don Garlitz? He's 93. Oh yes, he just went 346 kilometers an hour in an electric car. Bob Tasca ran 340 last weekend in Florida, which is almost 500 kilometers an hour. In closing, besides the diversification and the grassroots aspect of drag racing, there are over 500 tracks in North America. I'd like to take this opportunity in closing to thank people that helped me come here tonight. And there's a little bit of a theme, Todd. There's Norris and Susan, and there's Ralph and Franny, there's Ross and Mary, David and Lorraine, and there's, of course, Tim Miller and Margie. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't be standing here before you. Once again, I feel very honored, very humbled. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, John. Congratulations. Thanks for mentioning Jim Bray a couple of times. I know he appreciates it. Let's mention this. I don't know, I haven't checked the record book, but Jim Bray's going to be back in the NASCAR Canada Series again this year. So what is this, like 70 years? This has got to be a record for participation in stock car racing. Way to go, Jim. Our final new member inducted tonight is in the competitor category. Sports car racer, also a mentor and a coach.
Our next inductee's racing career took him from regional touring cars to the top level of sports car racing in North America, where he gained success in marquee IMSA events. Kuno Wittmer won the Quebec Sedan GT Championship in 2002 before winning the Canadian Honda Michelin title in 2005. He then shifted his efforts south of the border, where he finished runner-up in the SCCA World Challenge Touring Car class in 2008. Wittmer started racing in American Le Mans and Grand Am in 2012 and 13 before achieving new levels of success in the newly merged IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. His team recorded victories at Indianapolis and Circuit of the Americas en route to winning the GTLM title in 2014. Wittmer switched to GTD in 2015, scoring the class win in the prestigious 24 Hours of Daytona. He ran limited events in IMSA over the next several seasons, where he recorded the GTLM class victory in the Petit Le Mans at Road Atlanta in 2017. His sports car schedule included a variety of series and events. Highlights included a runner-up finish in the SCCA World Challenge GT3 class in 2016, a runner-up finish at the 2018 24 Hours of Nürburgring, and an IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge Series victory at Daytona in 2021. Wittmer has served as mentor and coach to over 25 drivers, teaching safety, speed, and how to overcome obstacles. He's also helped with multiple street driving clinics for young drivers and has assisted McLaren, BMW, Chrysler, Honda, and Acura with development of street car technology. Please welcome into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, Kuno Wittmer.
Presenting to Kuno Wittmer is Patrick Wittmer.
Well, Peter, you're not going to need the black flag, because I think we're all eager to go to the bar, so I think, wow, this is a heck of an opportunity. You only grow up in this sport to be on this podium right now. This is like the end game, right? You kind of want to walk away and be like, I did a lot of driving, a lot of machinery, a lot of sweat and tears, ups and downs, and here you are on the podium, so it's very grateful, and a big thank you to Motorsports Hall of Fame. It's Peter, the committee, the board, everybody, thank you so much for this opportunity. The key words tonight were humbled and family, and I like those words because I'm humbled to be here right now. It's an opportunity to showcase this to my two boys that are in the audience as well, my boys Nico Alexander and Luca William. They're looking at me and they're hungry. Everyone around me knows that this journey started back in 1998 with my father and my uncle also sitting here. We were in Mont-Tremblant at the Jim Russell Academy. I never did any karting. I had a late start versus some others that had karting experience when they were younger. I started 15 years old, took the classes, and right away we zipped off to Donington Park in England, where we did some competition there at a pretty big level. Came back and we did the 1999 Canadian Championship, Rookie of the Year, so felt good. We tried Formula Atlantics in 2000, and we couldn't come up with all the budget, so we did select events due to my age being 17, so it was a little bit tougher back then. But yeah, countless travel days, countless laps in various machinery. This passion is just so deep in my heart. I'm not active anymore, but every race, every IndyCar race, F1 race, and even hearing Hinch now on F1, I'm like, hey, I know that guy. So it's every race that I get to look at and watch on TV with my two boys and my wife. So again, this list could go on. The amount of people and teams and team owners and teammates in the past that I've had the chance to, especially in endurance racing, when you're not the only guy across the line. You've done the job with either 1, 2, or 3 more drivers in the car. So sweat and tears at the Le Mans 24, the Daytona 24, Nürburgring 24, which in my head is one of the best ever, wildest races. If you could get out there just to even drive the track, just do it. It's amazing. Big thank you to my mom. She's out here as well. My father, they were these incredible supporters in my life. From day in, day out, they were the ones at a race weekend texting and calling. So what happened? Like, yeah, Dad, hold on. I'm getting there. I'm doing a debrief. Hold on. So, but it's their passion as well that resonates. So we're very passionate about this sport. My wife, I don't even know where to start. I've married 15 years. She's seen me leave and go and just come back tired, and here we go again the next weekend. So Sabrina is just a gem. She's just the right person that I married, and for all the most amazing reasons. I love her. She's the best. Our two boys are the best as well. Lastly, thank you to the board again. Great honor. To all the inductees here, you guys are amazing. Great speeches tonight. I think we all radiate the same equation. The sport, the fans, the supporters, thank you, everyone. It's a great honor. Thank you.
Kuno, congratulations. Along with our new class of inductees each year, the Hall of Fame also recognizes deserving young talent in motorsports to help nurture and further their career and help assist them in reaching their goals. This year, we're proud to announce that the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame Rising Star Award is now supported by JMF Motorsports. JMF Motorsports will provide a Rising Star winner with a significant financial contribution to their motorsports program. Please welcome Alistair Taylor, the President and CEO of the Canadian Motorsports Academy, and also with JMF Motorsports, to present this year's award to Patrick Woods Toth.
Patrick Woods Toth was born to be a racer. Hard work, talent, and a strong support system has kept the young man from Salazar, Quebec on target to be Canada's next auto racing star. From growing up riding ATVs and snowmobiles with his grandfather to capturing 3 straight Ron Fellows Karting Championships and the Canadian Karting Championship in 2022, Patrick has been on the fast track. Recognized for his calmness and ability to make wise decisions behind the wheel, along with his ability to compile data and video and translate that into speed, propelled Patrick Woods Toth to the ultra-competitive US F4 Series. His transition from karts to cars was a very quick process. The 19-year-old took the F4 Series by storm, winning the 2023 championship. The young Canadian is now progressing to the F4 America Series for 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 2023 JMF Motorsports Rising Star Award winner, Patrick Woods Toth.
Hi everyone, Patrick here. Wish I could attend in person, but I'm currently having an amazing time in beautiful New Zealand for the Toyota Racing Series, where I'm driving a Formula Regional car for Kiwi Motorsport, which is partly ran and owned by Tina Larson, another fellow Canadian that you guys might know. But yeah, the Rising Star Award is something many young drivers wish to receive, and it is a good feeling having recognition for all the hard work that myself and many other drivers put in to this amazing sport. I'd like to thank John Farrow and JMF Motorsport, as well as Peter Lockhart and the Hall for putting this generous award together. It's a surreal experience to have my name up there with many of Canada's best racing drivers and as this year's Rising Star. 2023 was an amazing year, my first year racing cars, and we came out of it with many wins and a championship. But it definitely wouldn't have been possible without Ron and Linda Fellows, Carlo Fidani from Orlando. Now this year, Marcel Demers in the FSMQ, Bob Page, Richard Boak, and all the other Canadians who have supported me along the way. Thank you.
As you saw, Patrick unable to be here tonight. Peter accepted on his behalf. And Alistair, congratulations and thank you for being part of the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame Rising Star Award with JMF Motorsports.
Good, thank you, Todd. I guess one of the things I look back and say I'm very jealous. He's getting to race cars and he's in New Zealand. And we're out here in the cold. So I just want to take an opportunity just to say thanks to the Hall of Fame as well for this opportunity for JMF to get involved in this program. As mentioned, I'm also the president and CEO of the new Canadian Motorsport Academy, which just launched this week. And between John and I, this is a passion that we have to try and build the newest, best young Canadian drivers that we've ever seen. John's a passionate guy that has been involved in motorsport for a number of years now, and we're running cars in the SRO program in the States. We'll be running go-kart programs this year. We'll be running in GR86, and we're also running in the Michelin Pilot Series in IMSA. So John is a gentleman that has a passion to help young drivers like Patrick, and it's an honor for us to be the supporter of this award. From my perspective, from the Academy standpoint, I'd like to ask everybody, if you have a young youth who's between the age of 8 and 20 and they're interested in participating in our Academy program, please have them go on the website and register. We'd love to see them. It would be my great honor to stand here at some point in the future to be awarding the Rising Star Award to somebody who came through the Academy program. So on behalf of John Farrow, JMF Motorsport, thank you. It's been an honor for us to be involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Alistair. Appreciate your support. We're going to bring back Peter Lockhart now, the chair of the Hall of Fame. We've avoided the black flag. We'll let you make your closing remarks.
Well, I'm interested to know if everyone knows that Patrick did his last race a few hours ago in New Zealand. He finished second, and he captured the Rookie of the Series award. So that's fantastic. Our 22 Rising Star, Matt Clark, is here as well, and has been doing equally as well. So I guess we're on the right path in terms of picking them. In any event, it's been a fabulous evening. I know everyone's pretty tired sitting there and probably a little thirsty too. But I did learn something about my own racing career here, Todd, and I heard something about, how old was Hinch right now?
37.
37. I'm sitting there doing some math. I started at 31, so I think in 6 years, it would have been tough for me to get up there, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't mind. I mean, I had my fun, and it was a wonderful thing. And then I saw Didier. Of course, he started at 32, so now I blow that all to pieces. In any event, I'd like to thank everybody, all the inductees, all the presenters, all the supporters, the great team that we have here at the Hall to put this event together. We have time for a little celebration up in the reception, and I'll pass it back to you, Todd.
Thank you, Peter. Appreciate it. Congratulations once again to all of our new members this year in our Rising Star Award. Give them all a big hand one more time, the newest members of the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame. Thank you to all of them for giving so much of your life to our sport. Thank you for the thrills, the excitement, all the joy, and so much more. We want our inductees tonight to please come back up on the stage in just a moment for a photo of everyone. A reminder that the silent auction is still open. It's going to close in about 30 minutes. So you've got time to get back to the lobby. The bars will be open. We ask that you please, if you're enjoying, please enjoy responsibly, and go ahead, please make as many bids as you want. Again, the inductees, we want a group photo of everyone just before you head back out there. Thanks again so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate your help, your participation in Canadian motorsports and helping us celebrate it. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy the rest of the evening. We'll see you next year.